Welcome, you have reached review time with Imperial, and today's review will be House of the Dragon. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. This is season 2, episode 5. Let's get into it. So this is just an aftermath of uh, the last battle where Princess Rhaenyrs died on her dragon, Meleys, and was killed by Vhagar. So this is the aftermath. So the episode starts off with um, Sir Criston Cole leading his men back to the King's Landing. They got Meleys' head, basically saying the traitor dragon. They got Meleys' head going through the town people, where they thinking this is going to be like a tribute to King Aegon in the matter, versus the people looking at it as like an omen, like that ain't good, that dragon's head's being dragged through the town like that. That means I think they're looking at it as this is what the wars come to, and Rhaenyra is not going to just let that go like that. It's going to be a problem behind this. So, on top of that, they were carrying what is basically, it looks like in the shape of a coffin, but it's not really a coffin. So people who don't know the story, what's supposed to happen, they don't know what that carriage is. It looks like it could be a coffin, and so they didn't want the townspeople to see King Aegon II, what he looked like. So he's burnt to the crisp on majority of his body, and the armor is melted to his skin. So he's inside of this carriage, and pretty much he has to be tended to, like basically in modern day time, emergency surgery. And so they basically, what would be modern days, filling them up with morphine. They call it poppy seeds back then. It's basically the same thing in their time. And you think when they're carrying like his coffin, but they're carrying this all the way to the king's room, putting him on a bed, and pretty much all the maesters comes in with their team to bandage him up, try to keep him alive, fill him up with poppy seeds so that he can withstand the pain. They got to pull the armor off his body. You can see it sticking to his skin. So basically, he's Aegon II. You're not going to hear from him for a while. And pretty much he only comes back and do 2 more things left in the story. One of them is real significant, what he comes back and do, but you're going to forget about him because so much is going to take place, and pretty much he's down for the count for like a whole like year and a half or something like that, and you're not going to see him. So you're going to kind of forget about him in a sense. All the rest of the stuff is going to happen, and then when he finally get well enough, you're going to see him reappear and do something real significant or whatever. But besides that, you see Alicent, she's real concerned of Aegon. She's looking at Aemon, knowing he played a role. Somehow he played a role in what happened to his brother or whatever. So she does question Sir Criston Cole pretty much. And Sir Criston Cole, he stayed firm and he didn't really tell what happened. And of course now the councilmen, they say, how do we go on from here? Alicent pretty much like, I should take over. You know, I know the council, I know the words and everything. But the councilman was pretty much saying like, no, it wouldn't make sense. We got to let the next heir would be Prince Aemon. So he needs to take the role, basically, king, and Aegon II is king in recess, and then they got the Prince Aemon. They got a different name for it, but he's basically the ruling king at the time. He already had Aegon's knife, his little small dagger knife, on his belt. So all the councilmen pretty much said it has to be Prince Aemon, because they said basically, if we raise you up to be the queen taking over, then why wouldn't we was against everything for Rhaenyra being the takeover. So how are we going to build our own up? So that was a smack in Alicent's face. She started breathing heavy, and on top of that, all of them said, Larry Strong said, even though he's been for Alicent, he said Prince Aemon should be it. So Kristen Cole said basically Aemon's the next in line. He should be it. So everybody pretty much agreed that Aemon should be, and Aemon pretty much stayed quiet. And Alicent said Aemon's young, but he ain't too much younger than Aegon. So Aemon ain't say nothing until everybody agreed, and he stood up. Now he was on one side of the table, and Aegon sat on the other side. He got up, walked around, and sat in Aegon's seat. So that's the closest he'd be able to come to king. Later in the episode, it shows him pretty much looking at the Iron Throne, wondering if he will one day sit there. You know, he probably would have killed his brother if he had a chance. And so of course after that, Alicent later on, she went to Sir Kristen Cole, basically asking him, like, she tried to sweet talk him in a way, but he kind of stood firm and pretty much told her he spared her. And basically she asked him, is he loyal to her? So first thing Aemon did was he told the guards to take down the rat catchers or whatever. That's something Aegon did in his ruling. He told them to take that down because their stench was, and really Aemon is better suited to, be king or whatever. But he took down the stench, the stench of the corpses of the rat catchers. Took that down. Now, when he was staring at the Iron Throne, his sister Helena came and asked him, was it worth the price of paying? Because she knew what he did, even though she wasn't there, but she, she could see in the future and stuff like that. She pretty much asked him, is it worth the price of what he did or whatever? So she knew. Meanwhile, on the black side, they had to mourn the loss of Princess Rhaenyrs, and they questioning Rhaenyra. Daemon's not in sight. We just took a big loss. They took one of our they basically took our biggest dragon, which was Miley's, and our biggest dragon rider is gone. So it's a lot of aftermath of that. So word is getting back. Corlys, the sea snake, he's upset. He lost his wife in the battle. He didn't want her to go to battle. He bought her many riches. He's a rich man, but she still stayed loyal to the cause, and she lost her life behind it. Now he got his granddaughters. One daughter, Belle, that's with Rhaenyra, and the other daughter, Rhaena, that's out. And I forgot where that place they call. I think they call it High Guard, where it's built like a fortress. You can't get in there. You can't penetrate it. Only way you can penetrate it through the sky, like with a dragon. And she agreed. The person that runs that agreed to house Rhaena and the kids there if they provided dragons. But they bought 2 dragon eggs, but they ain't hatched yet. So she kind of gave Rhaena some lip, basically like, you here, and but I was supposed to receive dragons. And she like, well, we bought 2. She pretty much like that. That means nothing for me because all it is eggs. So it's gonna be something more to come from that. Back to Jace, and Belle have a conversation. Jace pretty much feel like, even though I'm heir to the throne here at Dragonstone, I need to do something to help this war. So Daemon is nowhere to be found. So Jace pretty much said he want to go and basically build rapport with others to join their side. And when he went to go build with them, he had a conversation with Belle before he left. Pretty much said that she could tell his mom um, once after he leave. Now Belle becoming a strong character, you could tell. She is a dragon rider, even though she got a little dragon, and she pretty much challenges her grandfather because she had to talk with Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra pretty much said, "Sorry for your grandmother's loss, for the loss of your grandmother." And even though she didn't care for me too much, she still stood by me. So she gave the hand um that the hand pin to her grandfather, the sea snake, Corlys. Pretty much Corlys, he scoffed at it at first, like it just supposed to be like an honor because I lost my wife. And pretty much Belle got in him. Pretty much was like, I'm gonna fight for Rhaenyra, and my grandma loved me. She fought for her. I'm gonna fight for her, and that's how I want to go out. And so he pretty much looked at her like she ruled a breath of fresh air, and like checking him. He was like, "You're gonna be heir to Driftwood, Driftmark." I said Driftwood, Driftmark, and she was like, "Well, the heir to Driftmark should be a sea and a salt person. I'm a fire and blood person." So she pretty much saying, "I'm a dragon rider. I'm a Targaryen. I'm a dragon rider. I'm not a person that's part of the sea. So a sea and salt person should take over Driftmark, the heir to your riches and your castle and everything like that." So that's pretty much it for Corlys. Then it had Daemon. That trailer where you see Daemon said "kneel to me," or you know, "I use my dragon," and the people pretty much was like, "Hey man, we'd rather just get burned than to be just give up our selves to you like that." And Daemon respected that, so he pretty much told his number two like, "Hey man, listen, I respect men like that because that means they stand for something. They rather die and get burned than to just kneel, bend the knee." And so he told him, "But there's other ways that you can manipulate and get them on board." And so he pretty much said, I got it." So what he decided to do is pretty much, I think he went to go and uh, he went after the women and children, and to get the men to turn their decision, because they sent a notification to Damon that they gonna bend the knee, but then the townspeople came in and pretty much said uh, they're not with it. And Damon he just found out that Laird Strong transferred all the money to King's Landing and took it out of Harrenhal. So Harrenhal ain't worth nothing right now because they need repairs and all that. That they don't have the money to bring in the manpower to do the repairs and stuff like that. So, Damon pretty much said, "I'll get the money for the payment." And pretty much Damon don't mind working. He doing up there. He's supposed to be like, he want everybody to dress him as the king. They don't really they don't really, they fear him, but they don't, by right, they like, "You're not a real king." So, you know, uh, he don't get that solely. So they're looking at Damon like, "Man, whatever." But Damon is a hard worker, so he got to figure out a way to get some money. And they pretty much said, "Well, won't you ask the queen?" And he like, "No," because he want to do his own thing. His mission is to build up the army on his own and to go take over King's Landing and basically take over the throne, and he be the king. And Rhaenyra gonna sit by his side. He pretty much stated in this episode that ain't how it's supposed to go. So he's refusing to kneel to um, Rhaenyra. Now, as far as the book goes, I'm not really sure. I know Daemon does something real significant um, towards the end of the war, but all the in between stuff, I don't recall what he really does in between all that, because he doesn't really seem like he's a factor until he gets it in him that he needs to make this one move that they building him versus his nephew the whole time. So eventually that's going to take, but I'm not sure what Daemon does in between there that's significant in the war. So pretty much after Jace comes back, talks to Rhaenyra, pretty much tells her, hey, uh, he went against her wishes to, uh, he went against her wishes to, not ride out, but he said he can't just stay firm and he got to be part of it. So they come up with the idea that said, we need more dragon riders. So this is the big thing. What they do is the dragons that they got several dragons that just don't have riders, and some that's kind of small. So two in particular that they spoke of, they Vermouth, I think his name Vermouth and Silverwing. Those are two dragons that's they don't have a dragon rider. Nobody has claimed them, and you gotta be chosen with the dragon as well, and you could be eaten or burned. And Vermouth is supposed to be as not as big as Vhagar, but he ain't far off. So he could give Vhagar a run for his money. And so Silverwing is out there. That's the two they mentioned. It's another dragon out there that's called Cannibal. But he's never had a rider. And he pretty much eats dragon. That's why they call him Cannibal. And it's supposed he's in the book, but they're supposed to show him eventually. Or whatever. So they're supposed to show him eventually. Now, they got the mission pretty much look at the lineage, all the people that was tied to that a Targaryen, and put a message out to them to come see if you could be a dragon rider to join the war. And they're going to get a couple of them, and one of them is going to get Vermouth. And once he gets that big dragon, he's going to turn the tide on a war on both sides. So at one point, he's going to help Team Black, and then once he get full of the power, feeling like, yo, I should be king. I got this dragon. This dragon wrecking shop. Then he going to switch sides again. So that's pretty much going to happen to him. That was a spoiler right there. But nevertheless, that was the episode. Decent. It pushed the story forward. It keeps showing a lot of Daemon. Not too much he's doing or whatever. He's still having his dreams and hearing voices and stuff like that. But other than that, decent episode, even though not a lot of action, a lot of dialogue. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Till next time.